Okay, I think we're on air. Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Well, as usual, some technical difficulties with the new Google Hangouts, but we figured it out. I'm joined here this morning by Kendall Ryan and Emma Chase, and we're going to talk about their upcoming books, which are coming very, very soon. Um, so, again, good morning. I have my coffee. You guys already probably had a coffee,
I have mine. This is
but
like
cheers.
cheers.
So let's talk about your latest projects, which are really cool and exciting. Kendall, you have the Fix Up coming October 11th, and Emma, you have Royally Screwed coming up on October 18th. They both feature some good-looking lads with accents that are not kind of as straight-laced as they might seem. They're a little bit bad boys. Can you each tell me about your leading men and a little bit about the book? Maybe we can start with Kendall.
Sure, yeah, that's why I had to have my tea instead of my coffee this morning because I'm kind of paying homage to my British hero who was so fun to write. So The Fix Up has a hero who, like I said, is British and he's a divorce attorney living in New York City. And because of what he does for a living, he's pretty jaded on the idea of marriage. And then he finds out he has 6 months to wed to receive his inheritance. And so he begins working with a heroine who's very feisty and very stubborn. I love her. And she's a PR exec who's going to help him to get down the aisle in those 6 months.
And then shenanigans happen.
Of course, they start working together, they're friends, the banter starts happening, and they start falling in love, and then they have to reconcile the fact that neither one of them were planning on getting married, let alone so quickly, and what are all the implications with that. So
Emma, tell us about Nicholas and Royally Screwed.
Yes. So it's funny because when I first started writing Royally Screwed, Nicholas wasn't as British-esque as he turned out to be. I knew he wasn't American. I didn't want him to sound American. But Nicholas is the crown prince of a fictional country named Wesco, and it's actually located in between Scotland and England. So he kind of has a mixed accent there.
I love that you have a location.
Oh yeah, there's a whole history.
Country, yes.
I know all his ancestors, his family tree. So Nicholas is the crown prince, and there's some political stuff going on in his country. They're actually a constitutional ruling monarchy. So his grandmother, who's the queen, actually functions as the president would, for example, and she works with parliament. And Nicholas, when she passes, will then, step into the role as king. So Nicholas is a great character because he does have that kind of really that bad boy, that naughty guy kind of underneath, but he's restricted by the role that he's in. And that's actually how the book starts off, is he starts talking about how he never really says what he's thinking. And he thinks some hilarious things. So he was a fantastic character to write. So what happens is his grandmother ends up sending him to Manhattan to attend a few functions and to kind of wrangle his wild younger brother, Henry, who's, making a tear across the states. And while he's in Manhattan, he meets a waitress at a coffee shop named Olivia Hammond. And Olivia's a great character. She's a New York girl. She's really hardworking. She runs her family's coffee shop, and they're struggling a little bit. So she kind of, digs deep, and she's just focused on getting through each day. And they meet, and stuff happens. It was so much fun to write Royally Screwed. It's a little bit different than my other stuff. What I enjoyed so much was that the two characters like each other, and they realize that they're falling in love. It's more of a love story. And I really had so much fun with that.
Awesome. Well, speaking of kind of royalty, I think that a lot of us have this healthy obsession with royals, especially, if they're good looking or if there's a little bit more to them. What do you think it is about royals that has so many of us so kind of obsessed and wanting to know more and more about them?
Me?
And makes them so appealing, really, to read about or to follow in real life.
I think it's such an elite form of celebrity. You know, there aren't many royals in the world. And yes, I mean, there's the wealth and there's the history of it, kind of the romanticism of kings and queens and princesses and the whole fairy tale aspect to it. Um, so I think that's really captivating to people, you know, this mysterious kind of life that they lead and their duties. And I also find it really interesting, and I loved this while I was writing Royally Screwed, is the idea that there are these really typical 20-something young, wealthy, attractive people who in many ways are still bound by these archaic rules, you know, and expectations of their behavior and traditions. So I think that's really interesting to most people too.
Well, and to think about that someone like that could possibly, you know, fall for a normal girl like us, you know, is it's kind of like a little bit of, you know, that princess story that we grew up with. So
Kind of
I think
what I'm
that's what makes it.
thinking of. We grew up with those Disney movies and all of
Yes.
those fairy tales, and so it's kind of like that, but an adult version. It's like, ooh, could this be a
Which is
fairy?
awesome.
So good. Yeah.
Have you guys read any kind of royal books before? Is there any that you've loved or?
Oh, I think we lost.
Oh,
Ken.
I'm back.
You're back.
That was weird. Okay, I'm back. I'm just trying to get my thing to balance now. Sorry. Hi.
We're thinking about your royal book.
Yes. Are you there?
Yes, but I didn't hear the last question.
Have you guys ever read or loved any particular book that features royals?
Oh, yes.
Out of curiosity, and what are some of your favorites or one of your favorites?
Oh my goodness, what comes to mind right away for me is The Other Boleyn Girl by Philippa Gregory. I don't know if you guys have read that, but
I love it.
Yes, and the basis in history too. You know, I love that. She's a great writer. I've read several of hers, so.
Yes, I love her too.
I went through in high school, actually, strangely enough, this obsession with Henry VIII and the Tudors and everything. I couldn't find the titles or the authors. They were more historically based. But I mean, that whole story and the drama of it is better than like any soap opera that's been on television. And it's real. It's real life. So I was always kind of fascinated by the historical aspect of it. And also just articles. I mean, there's such a wealth of information, not just about, you know, the British royals, but also Sweden, Prince Carl Philip. I don't know if you guys have ever seen him.
Oh, yes.
Oh, no, I need to.
Look him up.
Google.
Oh, what's his name?
Actually, he just got married recently, and I think his wife maybe was on a reality show or had some acting background. So again, it's that kind of prince and the commoner story. But I always, all the information that's out there about, you know, the modern royal families, Monaco, you know, Prince Rainier and Grace Kelly, that's just, it's just fascinating to me.
I recently read a book called The Royal We, which I don't know how new it is, but it's not too old because it's kind of loosely based on the romance between Prince William and Kate.
Yes.
Really?
So good, yes.
Ooh.
I haven't read that, but I've seen that.
Yes. So Kendall, the fix-up is kind of, you mentioned, a friends to lovers kind of romance, which is one of my favorite as well. Why do you think we also love friends to lover romances? They tend to be so addictive and irresistible to kind of watch.
Yeah, for me, it goes back to, so it's like my personal story. So that's how me and my husband started. We were friends actually for 5 years before we started dating. I met him when I was a junior in college. And, you know, I had a boyfriend at the time. And then when I was single, it seemed like he had a girlfriend, but we were always in the same circle of friends and the attraction was there. It's just the timing, it never worked out. So for me personally, I think it's just something special and magical. And we were finally both single at the same time. And we had this great, like, history. But we also were discovering new things about each other, you know, that we did not know. And it's just really fun. I love that.
What is their friendship like in the story?
So they have been friends in the sort of what me and my husband were, where they're like in the same circle of friends. And I don't want to say acquaintances, maybe a little bit more than that, but they're not besties, you know, they're not super close. And so there's still a lot to learn about one another, and you know, have those deep conversations. And they're a little bit at each other's throats at times too. So you know, she can call him on his BS and not put up with any of his stuff. I'll say. So they're friends, but they're almost. It's just a fun banter, and I love writing that kind of stuff, you know, where it's not insta love and they have to work for it a little bit, and it happens naturally and organically. That's kind of what I like to see develop over the page, and you know, not only as a reader but also as a writer.
Oh, I think we lost Vilma.
Oh no. Yeah, it looks like it froze. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. It'll come back maybe.
I hope. We'll just give her a minute.
Yeah. But I love that too. Oh, there she is. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, are you back? Oh, there she is. You froze on us.
I thought you guys left.
Oh no.
Well, we'll see what happens on video. I was talking. You guys were probably talking.
Oh,
who knows what happened?
It's never dull.
Yes. Never a dull moment.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys read each other's books yet?
I've read a couple of Emma's. Of course, gosh, I read Tangled back, you know, when everybody else did, and loved it. And then I'm trying to remember, I read some of the legal briefs. I'm not all the way up to date on those. But yes, I've read some. And I have Royally Screwed on my Kindle. So I have to get to that.
Yes, and I started reading the Fix Up, and I have to say, I love it. It's fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Sterling is like one of like my favorite kind of guy, in that he's just so funny and honest and direct. Like he's funny without necessarily trying to be, and I love that. And I just love their back and forth and the push and pull that they have. So it's
thank you. Thank you. He was the first, like, I feel like I just wrote like a nice guy, like a good, normal guy. Mm-hmm. You know, he's not a bad boy. He's not going to make you mad and do things to the heroine where you want to throw your book. I had so much fun just like writing a nice, normal guy, you know?
Yeah.
I love the name too. How did you come up with
the name? It's awesome.
I don't even know how I came up with it, but it was so funny because the other day Jen Sterling commented, she's like, his name is Sterling? And I'm like, oh yeah. Sorry, it is. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's a strong name, but still like upper crust sounding.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little bit.
So what's coming next for each of you? What's kind of in the works?
Yes. So I'm actually working on Royally Matched right now, which is all the books in the Royally series are they're standalones, but it's kind of like how Legal Briefs was written. They're interconnecting characters, which I love. I have to say, I enjoy that format so much because it's great to have characters pop in and kind of revisit, but still kind of get each character's full story. So I'm working on Royally Matched, which is Henry's story, Nicholas's brother.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and he's as straight-laced as Nicholas has to be. Henry's kind of the opposite. He's definitely, you know, he's the spare, so he's the wild child. So I'm having a lot of fun with that. And that comes out in January of 2017, which I can't believe it's going to be. And then after that is Royally Endowed.
Ooh.
Yes, which focuses the title says it all. Which focuses on a as yet unannounced couple in this world. But I have to say, this is the first time this series, usually when I get an idea for a book, I kind of become obsessed with that story and that couple. But when I conceived of the idea for Royally Screwed and then the whole series, I just felt so much in love with the characters and the whole world that I've kind of been jotting down notes and dialogue and kind of almost writing all three books at the same time. So I'm really, really excited for readers to, for everyone to kind of get to know the new characters. I hope that they enjoy it.
Will we figure out who the third couple is in the second book?
There are hints. It's so funny because I was talking to my agent about this. I'm like, can you tell? I think when and actually there's some hints about Henry's story too. We actually, there's a few great scenes. I love when that happens in books, when there's like kind of little seeds planted. So yes, if you pay attention, I think you'll be able to figure out who the third book is about.
What about
That's
you,
awesome.
Kendall? What's next?
So I am working on a book right now called The Roommate. And just like we were talking about friends to lovers, this sort of takes it to the next level, just like the title says, they are roommates. And anytime you are, living under the same roof day in and day out and seeing each other at your best and your worst, it just sort of takes that friendship and like cranks the dial on it and kind of puts some more pressure on that. So that's going to be coming out January 2017 as well. And the other thing with that story is there's elements of, so the hero is actually her best friend's younger brother. And so you have a little bit angle of like younger man, older woman, and sort of forbidden tryst elements to that. And then he's also in med school. And I've never written about, someone who's becoming a doctor, or is basically a doctor. And so I've been researching all of that and learning about it. And it's been fun to write too.
And when is that coming out? Around when?
January 24th. Yes. Oh no, did we lose her again? Well,
it's so funny what you were saying though about the research for because I've never written a doctor, but the lawyer part of it. I was really lucky actually. I had an attorney who works in DC who I was able to email with.
I was wondering how you knew all of that, because that was outstanding.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. It was a lot of fun to kind of research, but that was a great resource because there were some things that you just can't find like on the internet, and it was
for sure
by like little things.
Yes.
But that's exciting. A doctor almost again is like one of those elite kind of fields, you know what I mean?
Right.
Really familiar with. It's like powerful.
Yeah. I know. What was the one where the hero and the gal who she had like 6 kids that she had to look after? Yes. That was my favorite, and I'm trying to remember.
That was my favorite too.
Sustained. Yeah. Oh, I loved it. I loved him.
Thank you.
He had like so much growth that, happened from where he started.
Yes.
To where he ended.
Yeah, that one, it's so special to me because he was so layered, and it was such a sweet story. And also I have to say, so much of my own kids went into the kids.
Oh, they were, I loved that.
Yeah, I mean, like I say all the time, if you've read that book, you've met my kids. Because
that's cute. How many do you have? You don't have 6. Okay.
Sometimes it feels like 10.
Right. Oh, I know.
Can you guys hear me? I think I lost you guys again.
Yes. Hi.
Oh
Sorry.
my gosh.
We lost you for a minute.
But I heard 2 kids feels like 10. Is that Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for chatting with me. Is there anything else that you want to talk about? Anything you're reading and loving? Anything that you're doing today that is super fun and you want to share with us?
Not reading anything right now, unfortunately. I wish I was. I've got a bunch of good stuff on my Kindle. I've got to plow through a to-do list and then I hope to write maybe a chapter later. So not too exciting, but
I'm going to the post office to mail out signed books.
Ooh.
So it's exciting in a way. But yeah, the same thing. I have a couple books on my Kindle. I kind of I give myself about 2 weeks in between books to just like completely binge read. Because it's, it's easy to say, oh, just one more chapter, and then before you know it, the whole day has gone. So I'm really excited for that. Once I finish Royally Rematched, I'm going to dive into some great books.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for chatting with us today and for surviving all the technical difficulties. Actually, it wasn't too bad once we started, but thank you guys a ton.
We did it.
Thank you so much, Vilma.
This was great. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Hold on.
Bye, guys.
Bye.